Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 23 career mode, and today we're here for the 7th round of our full MotoGP season for the German Grand Prix at Sachsenring. Now if you didn't see the last episode for the Italian Grand Prix at Mugello, I do recommend you go check that one out before we do get into this one. But it wasn't quite the weekend that we wanted. We actually performed fairly well in the dry. I had turned the AI difficulty down a little bit because it was one of those tracks where they were quite overpowered due to sort of the high speed nature of the corners. But ultimately, it didn't matter. We scored no points because we were fighting for the win in the dry. The race got stopped for a shower, and then our front tyre got absolutely destroyed when we got into the wet weather because the track was still really dry on the first couple of laps. It shredded my front tyre, and there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. Now, you'll probably notice as well in this episode, things do look a little bit different. The Moto3 livery update has finally been released by Milestone, so we now have got the 2023 liveries, which are pretty nice. Now, before we do get into anything else, we're going to have a little look at the paddock, because in the comments of the previous video, Bram did ask to see the paddock, and I thought, you know what, I haven't been showing it off, so we can have a little look at our relationships. You can see pretty much neutral with everybody, aside from Masia, who actually has a positive opinion of us. I don't think anyone has a negative one anymore. Maybe Riccardo Rossi, to be fair, if we have a little look at the 658. No, actually, Riccardo Rossi doesn't seem to have an issue with us anymore, so pretty much everyone is neutral with us, except for Masia, who actually particularly quite likes us, so that is pretty interesting. Does seem like you can easily repair your relationship with people even if they really dislike you, because Ogden and Riccardo Rossi both took a bit of a dislike to me, but now we have absolutely no problems with them. Now this could be another round where we do struggle. Again, I've done a little bit of testing, so I've kind of decided on what AI difficulty I'm going for, 95, so a little bit lower than 100 again, but it is another one of those tracks where you're literally on the edge of the tyre for the whole lap, so the AI are going to have a huge advantage through sections like that. But without any further ado, we may as well head into the German Grand Prix. Hopefully, we have got some good pace, but you never know until practice is over. So I'll see you at the end of practice, and hopefully we can get through into qualifying too. So unfortunately, we haven't really got the pace so far this weekend. I was actually decently up there when I ended the session, but we've ended up 1.1 off, which obviously at the Sachsenring is quite a lot more than it is at most other tracks. So that looks like we're going to go into Q1, unfortunately. First time I've had to do that for quite a while, so maybe the difficulty is a bit wrong, but I wasn't a million miles off when I was on track, so I didn't want to set it too low. I don't want to be like cheesing victories or, you know, easy podiums or anything like that. I want to be able to fight for it, and this is the first time where I've been able to adjust the difficulty to make myself have to fight for it. So I'm going to try and utilise that as much as I can. But 1.1 seconds off Diogo Moreira. I mean, I could find a decent chunk of time. I mean, he's got 0.4 over the whole field. The two Leopard guys are literally on the exact same time in... Actually, no, never mind. He's not got 0.4 over the whole field. I just got Reed standings. They were 5th and 6th. I scrolled up and assumed they were 2nd or 3rd. He's got 5 thousandths over Holgado in 2nd. 2 tenths back to Artigas 3rd. Yeah, to be fair, I guess we've got to be focusing on Masia, so we're quite a decent way off Masia, so yeah, not ideal because obviously we need to be ahead of him after the Dutch TT, but we can't really go 2 rounds without scoring. That really will do us a lot of damage in the championship, so I think what we're going to have to try and do is try and get through Q1 and see if we can get into Q2, but I think it's going to be tough because the AI are looking fast. So it looks like we've moved potentially even further down the order in the other practice sessions, which isn't a good sign at all, but I think we still are in 25th, to be fair. I think it's now the riders behind us that maybe changed, because I thought Scott Ogden was right behind us. Maybe I was just wrong. I'm not too sure. But either way, we're right near the back once again. It seems to be taking me back to the debut season or to rounds like Argentina, where we were struggling quite a lot. So the game is actually recommended that I use a soft front, so I'll give it a whirl, because maybe it is worth a little bit of lap time, and anything I can find obviously is worthwhile. Also, we've come out the pits right behind our teammate. Maybe he can give us a little bit of a tow since we are back down towards his pace this weekend. But I'm really hoping we can go through this session, because I just do not want the anguish of having to fight at the back again. And especially at a circuit like this, where you saw Arrabbiata 1 and 2 in the last episode. Basically half the track is like this, which is a bit of a nightmare, because it just makes it impossible to be able to even try and do your own lap time, and they're just constantly hitting you out the way. You just keep dropping back through the pack, you gain a few back on the brakes, and then you just get pushed even further back. It just a bit of a vicious cycle. I feel like if I can actually get some clear air and maybe do some lap times on my own, that maybe I can somewhat match what they are doing. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to be fighting with the top flight AI today. I only need to find a second. I mean, that is a lot at the Sachsenring, but I've been further off before, and in a race situation, you can get dragged along if you're within about a second of someone's pace, to be fair. So if we can try and get through this session, try and qualify decently in Q2, then maybe we've still got a chance at a decent result here. Either way, we just need to focus on Jaume Masia, because if we outscore by 6 points in this race, we've guaranteed that we achieve the turning point, I believe. So here we are then, starting our first qualifying lap. Let's hope this is good enough to get us through. So towards the line, the front tyre is absolutely destroyed, but what is this going to be? 27.8. Not sure how that compares to what we did in practice, but it's similar. We definitely did a 27 in practice, so not too far off. Nepa moves ahead of us, so that's already bad news. It's already one guy ahead of us, and of course we have to be in the top 4 to go through to Q2. I'm not sure whether the soft tyre actually is quicker on this front end. I mean, maybe it is, but it is overheated a lot even in these cloudy conditions. I mean, this game just absolutely batters your front tyre, so I think I might come in for a new set, but I might stick on a medium this time. So we're currently safe by just under 0.2 of a second. We're down to 3rd place. Well, we already were 3rd place, but Carrasco is 1.4 tenths behind us. It's a surprise to see Carrasco up in the top 4, so that probably does look pretty bad for us, as that means some of the better AI in this session probably haven't set their times yet, because I don't think Carrasco's gone through at all season. And I know she sort of is one of the bottom AI in this class. So if she's in the top 4, then there's probably a decent amount of time to improve. So towards the line, I think we are going to improve by enough to go to the top of the tyre sheet. It's not quite, actually. So we only improved to 2nd place, 12 thousandths of October. So I'm just going to keep trying to improve my lap time. But so far, we're already 2 tenths down on literally one corner. So here we are then. I think we've improved by enough on this lap. And again, actually, still not enough, because we're now 3 tenths off the top, so Rueda has improved by a decent margin. So the AI really are picking up their pace towards the end of the session, but we're just hanging in that top 4 of the session so far with 3 minutes to go. Okay, so we've just been put straight into the race. Now, I was still on track as the session ended, and my downshift button on my controller is actually A. So I went into a corner and pressed A as the session ended, so it immediately skipped past the qualifying session ending. So I actually don't even know where we are on the grid, or who went through, or what happened, because we were on course to go through, and now I can't even go through and check, which is less than ideal, but I guess we'll find out where we are on the grid going into the race then now. So whatever it is, it's clearly going to be a comeback ride, because we're going to be outside of the top 18, which is obviously unfortunate. We were on course to go through. Now, I'm not going to complain too much, because I guess in theory it's quite possible that we got beat right at the end of the session, but it didn't look like it. We still had a safe spot. We could be beaten by one person and still go through, and I think there was only really one guy going out on laps, so we're 23rd on the grid by the looks of it then, so we also got shuffled down by a few spots. Apologies for not being able to show the results, but like I did explain, I was just downshifting as the session ended. But this is going to probably be another tough weekend. I mean, at least we're not at the back of the grid, so we are quicker than some people, and I think once we get into the race, maybe we could try and do something a little bit, but we probably are just going to keep getting rammed out of the way constantly, which of course isn't really an ideal way to go racing, but it is what it is. You can only do so much, so we'll get this race started then, but unfortunately it looks like it's going to be another tough weekend for us here at the Sachsenring.
Here at the Sachsenring, everything's ready for the on. The riders' focus at its highest. It's crucial not to drop positions off the start on this track.
So Morera on pole then, alongside Immortola, and Holgado rounds out the front row. So the 3 that have been dominating so far up there. But the lights are on, waiting for them to get here for this German Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. And to be honest, our initial reaction time hasn't been too good there. We've got a CIP bike already pulling alongside us, trying to turn into us as well there. Lorenzo Fallon. So we go down towards the first corner, try and do a bit of a dive bomb to try and make up as many positions as we can. You can see Artigas a few positions ahead of us, so obviously he's our rival in the championship, I guess, really. We're getting a few positions there, a bit lucky. A couple of IO bikes, a couple of KTMs, making a few mistakes. They're up into the points already, so this has been one hell of a start. Now, it's probably worth noting, I did turn the AI down a couple of percent, just to make it a bit more fair in the race, because I know if I was starting back in 25th, I was just going to get absolutely pushed out of the way, and I'm already being pushed out of the way here anyway by some of the AI. Unfortunately, I pushed Asman out of the way a little bit there myself, and we're now pushing Foressato out the way. So, to be fair, I'm kind of just being a bit of a hypocrite, but this is what the AI do, so I may as well try and do it as well. And back up the inside we go, Foressato back up into P15, so up into the point scoring positions before the end of this first lap. But don't get it twisted, we're not going to be making progress through the pack like this, and, well, definitely not if we're getting people doing stuff like that. And see, that's why I wanted to sort of maybe turn the AI down a little bit, so we had a bit of a chance if someone did do something like that to us. It cost us quite a bit of time there. Can we try to get back up the inside of Asman? think we can into the Saxon curve, although we're going to struggle to get that one stopped. Asman then hits us out the way. This is what I mean. The AI just ride through you. It is so frustrating. I know a lot of you guys have been saying in the comments, how do I stay so calm when the AI riding through me, but trust me, inside, I am absolutely screaming. But we've got one hell of an exit out of the last corner. We should be able to pass both of these towards turn 1, and maybe for Asato, if we could risk a little bit on the brakes, and that should put us up into 15th once again. And we have indeed passed for Asato, but we risked too much there, ran a bit wide. For Asato even ran wide there, which unfortunately allowed Asman through, because I couldn't get the cutback because Asato was there. Asman's still trying to hang around the outside. He's now going to be on the side of Omega, so I'm still stuck on the outside. And this is the problem battling with a pack of AI. You can see they could just turn underneath you, so there's nothing you could do unless you could force your way to the inside. We're trying to force our way to the inside of Agi now, but now we've got Nepa going around the outside of us as well, so this is the beginning of us just dropping back to the pack, I think, unfortunately. And it's a 14-lap race as well here, with it being such a short circuit, so it's going to be 14 torturous laps if we're just going backwards like this, must be said. We're past Nepa now. Agi up next. You see Asato under attack from Asman in front. Hopefully we should be able to get Agi here. In fact, we're going to get Agi into turn 9. Probably doing what Asato did to me on the previous lap to Agi, just not quite as extreme. Probably in the wrong gear now, though. I shifted up a bit too early, just cost me a decent amount of time. We're going to get a track lap this morning as well, because I've got on the green at the Ralph Waldman curve, so it's not been a good start to the race. We've made a few positions up, but that's basically the only positive. Everything else has just kind of gone wrong. We've lost a lot of lap time because we got pushed out the way. Masia's going through the order. He didn't qualify too well, but it seems to be charging his way through the order because that points gap just keeps getting smaller and smaller every time I see it. And then we've now got 2 track laps once as well, and we've got so many more laps to go as well, and we've got to try and not pick up any more. If we can get a few clear laps without getting dive bombed, then we could probably do something, but Agi's just too close. He's going to definitely try and get up the inside of us through some of these turns. But if I can run some more flowing lines, then I'm actually probably okay. I can probably actually start to maybe think about picking some off. Colin Veya's coming up the inside of us now, though. So I thought I was going to get away with it, but he's sort of charging through the pack and he overtakes us. I mean, he was going pretty well here last weekend in real life, so it probably does make sense. We're going to get the run down the Ralph Waldman curve through the waterfall. We should be able to overtake him into the Saxon curve. Up the inside we go. Although actually, to be fair, it's going to be pretty difficult. In fact, no, we've not overtaken him there. To be fair, he did a really good job of carrying that speed into the corner, which isn't great because we've not managed to capitalise on an area where I'm actually strong. Morera does a 27.3 at the front of the pack. I do a 28.3, so we lost a whole second to the race leader on that lap. But down towards turn 1, can we try and get the inside of Colin Veya? I think we can. Actually, we've done that pretty well. If we get on the power, we should beat him to the next apex, which is kind of the goal here a lot of the time. Just trying to beat him to the next apex so they can't get the inside of you. Although, to be fair, he's still done it anyway. But now I've got the inside through Omega, which is potentially the better line to be on. But I'll end up getting squeezed towards the curb, I suppose. We're side by side still. He's now got the inside through turn 4. And I think he's got the position now, so nothing we're going to be able to do about that one, to be honest. Does seem like Asato struggling a bit, though, now, because we are gaining on him a lot, and then there's a bit of a pack ahead of them. If we can maybe just try and get across to some of those guys in front, because we're not miles off of the leaders, to be fair. It's just we seem to get over. We're losing track position. That's the problem. The time is actually not too bad. Obviously, I know we lost a second on the previous lap, but that's not a lot compared to what we've lost at some other tracks when we've been towards the back. But Asato is looking pretty vulnerable now. Vaya's overtaken him, and up the inside we go of the pair of them into turn 1. So that should promote us up into P16. So we're still not even into the points, but I can see those points on the horizon now. Also, in terms of fuel, we're doing really well. We've got 0.8 of a lap, and we've been in 3 the entire race. So it looks like, because of the nature of the circuit, the fuel is just going to save itself, which is lovely. So Veya comes back up the inside again. Unfortunately, because we're on a really good lap, we're probably potentially going to try and breach that gap ahead, and we're back up the inside of him, and we're going to put him on the grass virtually there. That's a couple of times I've done that now. I'm not intending to do it. It's just when I'm going back up the inside of them through that corner, I've got to try and pick up the power, and they're just stuck on my outside. I know I should be a bit more respectful, but it's just because I can't afford to get stuck behind them. Every lap through turn 1, I get so close to these guys ahead, and then I just have to watch that gap disappear on the rest of the lap. It's infuriating. Veya's trying to go around the outside of me here. It's pretty close, but we are just going to be able to keep in front of him, but it's annoying because we're really making inroads on this group in front. In fact, we're probably making inroads on everybody at this point, but it's just so difficult. I think now the tyre wear's maybe kicking in a little bit, and there's some battling going on in front. We are starting to actually genuinely close in. So I've finally bridged the gap to these guys in front as we start the 10th lap of the race at 27.6. I'm pretty much doing my qualifying times. Only 3 tenths off the leaders now, so to be fair, my pace is looking pretty good. But we're attacking Dennis on Chu then into turn 1 here. Can we actually get past the Turkish rider. Not quite, unfortunately. Up the inside of him again, Rueda now has sort of been pushed out of the way. So you can see how they're losing the time because they're battling a lot. And I think, to be fair, we might have just got Onchu there through Omega. Yes, we have. So we're actually making some inroads through this group, which I didn't expect, because I kind of expected that I'd struggle to even overtake any of them. And it looks like also Masia's gone a bit backwards because the gap has gone up to 10 points again now, so he's only gaining about 6 points more than us, so he must only be a few places up the road. And unfortunately, that's what I've expected, and that's also what I expected there. Onchu pushed us out of the way, and now that puts us behind Veya, who's probably more of a threat, to be honest, than Onchu, because Onchu's clearly struggling at this point of the race. We'll go between the two of them. We have to go around the outside of Veya. Unfortunately, no room for me there. No room for Onchu either. But we're scrapping over basically 1 point again now. It's a shame because we probably were going to be able to make progress through our group. But the AI is just so annoying. They just hit you out the way. And it just makes it impossible to do anything. I could maybe do worse and stick you behind Veya. And seeing if he can close up to them a little bit. And maybe like when he overtakes them, try and capitalise. I'm not too sure. Although I think we're going to have to pass him at turn 1. I don't think I have much of a choice. But the problem is, then he's going to be close enough to hit me out the way in other parts of the track, which is obviously going to cost me more lap time overall. But when I can brake this late, I kind of have to go underneath him. I can't really afford to brake early, although he's alongside us. I think I'm just going to let him have it, and we're going to see. I'm going to see if he can make any inroads on them. But I think Onchu is probably still a bit of a worry behind, because he'll just hit me out the way for a guess. But the Veya strategy just hasn't worked. He's not made any inroads on them at all. So I think I am going to attack him again into turn 1. And here we go, up the inside. We should get this one done. Back up into the point scoring position on the power as well. Actually, didn't even have to fight as much as last time. Yamanaka ahead of us now then. We're actually under by a decent amount, which is bizarre. Maybe I've just finally figured out how to do the first corner a bit better. Right, so here we are then, about to start the penultimate lap of the race. And to be fair, we've caught right up to Ryusai Yamanaka, so we should be able to get him down towards the first corner. So we're up into P14 now. Up next, Rueda, then it's Toba, then it looks like it's Munoz ahead of him. Let's see if we can make any more progress. So here we are then, final lap time. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to make any more inroads through the pack unless we really send it on Rueda into turn 1. We're just not close enough. And obviously around the rest of the lap, we're not going to close up anymore. So looks like it's going to be 14th place at best unless something really chaotic happens in front. We've got 6 tenths back to Ryusai Yamanaka. So to be fair, we should be safe from him as well as long as we just keep it clean. Well, Colin Veya managed to get past Yamanaka and he's close right up to the back of us, so he's really the threat now. We just need to make sure that we finish in front of him. And going down towards the last corner, it is going to be pretty close. He's up the inside. Can we try and hang out around the outside of him, though, through the last turn? I think we have been able to do it. We should be able to get the drive out of the last corner as well. A bit of a wheelie there as we come up towards the line, a bit on the curb as well, but we should be able to still beat him to the line for 14th place here at the Sachsenring. So we did actually beat Veya to the line, so 2 really hard-fought points there picked up at the Sachsenring. And if it wasn't Championship over before, it definitely is now because we've lost another race wins worth of points to Daniel Holgado now, and basically the other 2 on the podium as well, Moreira and Ortola, the top 3 being dominant as per usual. Masia ended up in 6th place, so that's probably the biggest issue for us. Same with Artigas as well, really. Those are the 2 that we should be focusing on in this championship now, to be quite honest. So in the championship now then, we are 10 points behind Xavi Artigas in 5th position there. Masia still 11 points back off of us, so it's actually not too bad at all there. We could have been a lot worse. I think he must have lost a couple of positions, and actually no, I gained a few, didn't I, at the end? That's what it was. Yeah, I gained the couple of points because it was hovering about 9 points. So it's not too bad taking it into the final round. We just need to score within 9 points of Masia, which is a lot easier said than done, but I'm hoping that Assen should be a bit more of a rider circuit and play into the players' hands. But yeah, we're 80 points off the Championship League now. I'd already given up on it, but at this point, it is literally impossible. There's no way we are getting 80 points back. It's just, they've been so consistent, and that's what I've said for years. The reason why they lose championships is because they're so inconsistent. As for the Team Championship, then we actually lose a position to Liquid Moly, Husqvarna, Intact GP, and there is actually change at the top as well. MT Helmets take over from Red Bull KTM Tech 3 with Asman once again scoring pretty decently. Well, not pretty decently, but he scored some points compared to probably Farioli scoring nothing again. So that does move that team up into the lead. Now, of course, we did lose to Masia in this one, but we can take the solace that we did get in the top 15, so we should still gain some reputation. But let's head back to the Career Hub now, see what reputation we do get, and see some social media messages. So we did gain 1,300 reputation then, so still a while away from reaching pro, but at least we didn't lose any reputation this round. And we've actually only got one social media message here, which is quite rare. Usually you do get at least two. And this one is from Sasaki. Having finished the race in front of Biker confirms that we're doing a good job. Considering the high level of skills demonstrated, we have to continue working well for the upcoming races. Now, I would imagine that's because he's the rider behind me in the championship, because otherwise it does seem a little bit random. And I did catch that he was the one behind, so it does make sense. Again, we may as well be nice to Sasaki. Obviously, he's not a Honda rider, but even still, we may as well stop him from ramming us out the way. So what can we say then? Okay, so it didn't go well this weekend. We'll have to work harder to get out in front. Or, okay, so I didn't go so well, but there's no contest between us, and I'll prove that to you. Well, we'll go with the nice one, like I said. I know you're probably thinking that I shouldn't be so Mr. Nice Guy, but at this point, whilst we're struggling, we don't need any more things going against us getting rammed out the way or anything like that. So I'm just trying to keep things fairly cordial with most of the AI. Although, to be fair, his teammate was a thorn in my side today. It was really, really annoying me, actually. We probably could have got a better result, actually, if it wasn't for him. It wasn't for Dennis on Shoe as well. I think we actually could have picked off a few riders in that pack, but that is just it at some of these circuits. It is going to be really, really tough, and I'm hoping in the next one at Assen, we will have a good weekend. I want to finally get a race win as well. It's been so long. It's been almost half a season. I'm not even remotely close to getting a race win yet, so it is going to be pretty tough, to be honest. But I hope you guys did enjoy that one. If you are new to the channel, please do like the video and subscribe. It really does help me out, and you'll see plenty more MotoGP 23 content, as I'll be bringing plenty of stuff, career mode, online videos, some game experiments, some other stuff as well. So if you do like MotoGP 23, do stick around, because this is the place to be. But like I said, I hope you did enjoy that one. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you're staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.